Kejap Syafiq. Macam kalau kita nak gulai, tapi saya nak terbalikkan kamera, nak baca kat sini boleh?
Nak terbalik kamera ni?
Maksudnya nak macam dalam phone kita boleh buat flip kan? Boleh tak kat sini?
Laptop ni tak boleh flip.
Tak kat sini ada apa-apa.
Tak ada.
So kita letak macam ni.
Alah.
Okay. Saya lah jadi cameraman ya.
Sebab dia ada dua kamera.
I see. Sini tak ada.
Satu dia.
Okay. So kena buat macam ni. Tak apalah. Mana orangnya? Kat situ. Okay. Mana?
Audience online.
Our cluster members, some of them are away or on medical. Okay. I will navigate this manually. But where are you going to be? There?
I'll be everywhere.
And you'll be everywhere, will you? You'll make it impossible for me to manage you, yes. Tengok ya, kejap. Where's the screen? Sorry. Tak tahu. First time nak cuba. Okay, we're currently live and the camera is going all over the place. Okay, where's Aisyah? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam hormat semua. Terima kasih kerana meluangkan masa untuk sesi perkongsian kita. Ini adalah siri wacana yang pertama oleh kluster kami, Budaya dan Kognisi. Dan kita sangat berbesar hati dengan kehadiran rakan-rakan semua untuk berkongsi pengalaman cabaran menerbit dalam jurnal berimpak. Kita di sini semua we are published authors. Namun pengalaman kita lain, ya. And then kadang-kadang kalau kita dapat kongsi pengalaman, dia akan memberi sedikit inspirasi untuk the next journey, the next leg journey, kan? So pagi bertuah kita ni kita diraihkan oleh dua published authors, scholars in their respective fields. Kita ada Prof. Madia Dr. Mohamed Zain Sulaiman dan Puan Aznur Aisyah yang akan sampai. Beliau on the way. Beliau bercuti sabbatical, bercuti belajar, namun akan berkongsi pengalaman juga. So kita mulakan dengan sesi dengan bacaan surah Al-Fatihah untuk memberkati majlis. Amin. So tanpa melengah masa, kita undang penceramah yang pertama, Dr. Zain.
Thank you very much, Rai. I wouldn't consider this a ceramah or me a penceramah for that matter. But I'll go back to your earlier statement, a sharing session.
Great.
Well, first let me put out my caveat. I'm not an expert in Q1 publication. We all publish, and I don't know whether I'll be sharing anything new with you. We all know the ins and outs of publishing, but what I will be sharing with you is my experience, which might be different from yours, or which might be the same, which might inspire you, or which might not inspire you. Okay? Shafi? What happened? On the screen is the list of questions that Rai prepared for me. Yeah,
Huh?
I think there are 9 or 10 questions. But what I would like to start off with is to talk about what motivates me to publish, or the purpose of publishing. Okay, we all have our own motivations. We have our own purposes of publishing, which might be the same, which might be different from each other. But for me, I've got two main purposes of publishing. One is the primary purpose, and the second one is a secondary purpose. But both purposes are interconnected and interrelated. My first purpose is for publishing is to fulfill my duty, to fulfill my obligation, because I consider it as what you call an amanah. Okay, we are public servants. Okay, and part of our duty, and or in a research university, that's I think the most important duty that we have. Every year we'll be asked about publications, and we are measured by our publications. Yeah? And every year we get our ERK, and the most important one would be the R. Yeah? It's so important that yang R itu boleh melimpah kepada E and K. Yeah? So I think the main objective or motivation for me is looking at it as your periuk nasi lah. Nak jaga periuk nasi. Yeah, dan nak to fulfill your. Okay, that does not help.
Testing, rice will test.
Not that you're
Yeah.
not famous enough, but you're more famous now.
To look after your rice bowl, basically. Itu yang pertama lah. Yeah. Yang kedua is really self-development, recognition, self-fulfillment. Yeah. Because I think when you publish in a Q journal, I mean, these are recognized journal. And I would suggest that you go for Q journals which are in your discipline, and not journals that are open to everything. There are Q journals which publish everything under the sun. For example, sustainability. Okay, because I think when you publish in journals like that, well, number one is not a journal within your discipline. So I think the level of recognition is not the same as when you publish in a journal that's recognized within your field of knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Now we go back to the periuk nasi. So we publish because of this. Because we need to fulfill our yearly duty and obligation. So if I look at how many points do I get, yeah, because you can still fulfill your research and publication duties by publishing in Scopus or in something even less than that, yeah, ERA and my site, okay. But if you look at Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, the points are more, especially if you publish in Q1 for social sciences, you get 3 points. Okay, that's equivalent to publishing 3 Scopus Index journal articles. Now, when I do the math and calculation, I mean, if I can publish 1 article instead of 3, why don't I do that? Okay, yeah. So that's one of the reasons why you should try and aim for the Q. Okay, you publish more quality article, but less in quantity. Okay. Okay, this was my first WOS journal article back in 2018. Masa tu I tak faham pun this Q. I published in this journal not because it was a Q or WOS, because my supervisor suggested this title. Okay, and I think I was quite lucky because I had my supervisor with me, and I think that helped a lot for my first Q journal article. And I was so lucky that it was published quite fast. Okay. If you look in the orange box, I submitted it in September 2017. Okay. And it was accepted in February 2018. So that's like what, 5 months? Okay. So it was reviewed within that 5 months, and after that it was accepted. Okay. And it was online in the following month, which is quite rare. Okay, unless you're so lucky. And it was published and assigned a volume 2 months after that. So the entire process was 8 months. So I thought that's the norm, but it turned out that that's the exception. That was the first time and last time that I was able to publish a Q article that fast.
What do you mean by online?
Online, once your article is accepted, many journals now will publish it online without assigning the issue or volume yet. Okay, so it's published online. Okay, it's got a DOI code, but it's still considered in press actually, especially by PTSL. I mean, people can start citing you, but they will cite you without volume or page numbers. Yeah, and PTSL will consider that still in press. Okay, but to me, it's as good as published. But of course, you don't get your points yet. Okay.
Get the point, yes.
Yeah, to fulfill your prionasito.
But it's confirmed if you're online means you will be published.
Sebenarnya accepted dah, confirm it will be published. Yeah, but online is even better. Yeah. So yeah, within 8 months. So I thought that, wow, that's quite easy. It wasn't that hard to publish in a Q. This is a Q2, I think. Q2 journal. Yeah, I can do it again. Okay. So that was my first one. This article. This is a conceptual paper, so it did not involve data. I put forward a model.
And this is a translation journal.
A translation journal, one of the top 5, I think, in translation studies. So it's a conceptual paper. Okay, this is my second Q paper. This is Q1. Okay, this is Q1. This adalah hasil COVID. Hasil COVID. We had a lot of time. Okay, the interesting about this paper, it's not an article. It's a letter. Okay, it's a letter to the editor. But it's reviewed by 2 reviewers. It goes through the same process. The only thing is that the nature of a letter to the editor is not the same as a research article. It's a letter. Okay? So it's not based on a research. You're not presenting your findings. No. You are presenting on a novel, unique idea. Okay? And it has to be so unique that the editor will say, yes, I'm going to publish this. Okay? And it's very short.
Not even. And how many words?
How many pages?
Okay,
Pages?
it's quite short.
3 pages? I can't see.
1 minute.
We go by words, that's what.
3 pages, huh? Yeah. 1054, 1057, isn't it?
Somebody go on Manuscript jap, I nak letak dekat screen tu tengok nampak ke tak nampak? Sekejap nak tengok.
Okay,
Nampak tak?
this is the research letter. Oh, sorry.
Very clear. The phone showing the screen. Okay, tunjuk muka.
Sama ada tak
Okay.
idea nak publish.
Yeah. So this is it's 4 pages.
Zain, for the purpose of those who are online, can you read the because they can't see because the screen is so bright.
I thought you were going to go around and
No,
that-
I tried. I tried. I can't make myself this.
Okay, so the title of the research letter is Creating Favorable Destination Images Across Languages, Collaboration Between Tourism Studies and Translation Studies.
And
Okay.
this was published where?
Okay, this was not published in a translation journal. It was published in a tourism journal. Okay, so I think that's what made it interesting for them, because for them it's something new. Okay, so the entire paper is only 4 pages actually. Page 1, page 2, page 3. And I've got a diagram. 3 pages really. Yeah.
And how many references?
Okay, there you go. So half a page of references. Yeah. So in this paper,
But you get the same marks as the article.
We want to know about the marks that we get.
coming to that.
Tapi
No,
ada,
I
dalam
just
status tu
joking.
ada letters to editor. Kurang rasanya kan?
Okay, so this paper was accepted in March 2020. It was submitted in March 2020, accepted the following month, which is very fast. So the review process was only 1 month. That's quite not normal. Unusual, yes. In April 2020. And within 3 months, the following month, in May 2020, it was already online, as good as published. But it wasn't assigned a volume until a year later, but that's fine. You just wait for it to come out, but you won't get the points, of course.
Yeah, at the end of 2020.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, my first one was easy. My second one was easier. I thought, okay, it's not that difficult. Yeah. But wait till the
And they
third
are all
one.
free, right?
They're all
The third
free.
one I did within 10.
Free journal, is it?
Free channels, you didn't
Okay.
pay anything, right?
Okay, all my cues I don't pay,
You avoid.
and I never pay. Okay, I was actually approached by sustainability offering me a paper to be published, and I was like, wow, I think it's Q1 or Q2. Yeah, but when I saw the fees, it's like 12,000. I was like, why should I pay 12,000? And it's not a journal within your field. It's a journal for everything.
Yeah.
So to me, the level of recognition is I don't know. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was my second journal article. So they were quite impressed with the idea that I put forward. The idea that said, tourism studies should collaborate with translation studies. The only comment that they wanted was the diagram, for me to come up with the diagram that summarized my idea. So
they welcomed the visuals.
they asked for the diagram. Initially, I didn't have a diagram. Yeah. So that was an easy one.
So
Okay.
this is part, and for the purpose of those who are online, this is part under research letter. Is that unique? Or
Okay.
do they have a
Let-
section on that?
Let's go back to the Prionasi. Janual Prionasi. Okay.
Again, could you
Do
read
you
it out
always
for
refer
those
to
of us
this
who are
channel
online?
pregnancy before you publish, or you have all this in your mind?
And not the first journal, so I tak tahu apa-apa.
Of course,
It wasn't my intention to publish in a Q cup. I didn't know what the points or whatever. But the second one, yes, dah belajar, dah pandai sikit dah. So yes, so the second one, when I publish letter to the editor, it's because here, letter to the editor dalam Q1, full marks, 3. It's the same as a full-fledged article. Okay, but I'm not saying that it would be easy because it's 4 pages. Because I think the editor will be quite critical in selecting which one, only like ideas that really, emerge as unique.
But
Yeah.
for example, for each volume, how many method editors?
Okay, not all journal articles would have this section. Okay, so you would have to look for journals that relate to what you're doing and would have that section, a letter to the editor section. Yeah, and okay, whenever, what I would do when I submit to a journal is to go through the scope. So letter to the editor, read the scope of the letter to the editor section properly and see what actually they want. Okay, and that's very important. I learned that in my 3rd journal article that I published with the Dr. Intan. Yeah, the scope is very important. All right. This is the 3rd Q article. I published this with Dr. Intan and Dr. Haslina from USM, and also my PhD student. This is from my FRGS grant. Okay. Okay.
Again, for those who are online, could you read the title?
The title is The Professionalization of Translation Practice, a Systematic Review of the Literature. Okay. Okay, this is the first time I was rejected by the journal. So far,
How did it feel?
so far, until this article, I was never rejected. This was my first rejection. And after that, many more rejections. Okay, so but it's good because I started thinking that it's easy, it's rosy, but until you come to things like this. So I submitted this to 3 Q journals in August 21, September 21, in September 21, I submitted it to 2 different journals, one after the other, and it was all rejected. Dr. Intan will remember this, and we were very frustrated.
I didn't jot down the dates, like, I don't want to remember.
No, I didn't either, but I just went through the emails just to show you, to give you an idea. Yeah.
But that means they rejected it very fast because you send to the next journal and then to the next journal.
Yes.
That's good.
The good thing about Q journals, the turnover is very fast, especially in terms of the content screening. The first phase is very fast. It could be within days, weeks, or I think not more than 1 month or 1 month and a half, you would get a reply whether they will proceed or not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So why was it rejected? So basically, initially we sent it not to a translation journal because this is on the professionalization of translation practice. So we thought that we would send it to a journal that is specialized in professions, occupations, and professionalization, which are these 3 journals, but they did not appreciate the topic of the professionalization of translation practice. So basically, they rejected it because they thought it's not for their audience. They thought that, because when I talk about the professionalization of translation practice, I'll be in 2 different fields. Okay, so they thought that we paid more attention to the translation field rather than the sociology of professions. So that was another issue. And so it was rejected by all 3 journals. So and then I said, okay, forget about going to sociology of profession journals. Let's go to translation journals. So I sent it to this journal. Perspective. This is the same journal that I was accepted for my first paper. And straight away they accepted it. So again, sometimes it's about what the journal wants. Sometimes it's not that your journal is not good enough. But nevertheless, the 3 journals did give me some feedback, and I think those feedbacks were very valuable and useful for me for my submission to the translation journal.
Could we talk about the strategy of going to the next journal and then the next journal? Could you tell us a little bit about your strategy? Like all three journals are quarter journals.
Yeah.
So you didn't go like, okay, first quarter, oh, forget it. Now let me just go to scope first. You didn't go that strategy. Rather, you kept to the quarter strategy. Why?
Yeah, because Intan and I said by hook or by crook, it's going to go into a field journal.
But that period, that was the focus. Like you wanted, were these journals reputable and there was something about them? What was your strategy?
Okay.
What were your strategies?
Okay, because my previous journal was in a tourism studies journal, so I thought that because translation is all about interdisciplinary, so you have two different fields that you have to juggle. Yeah, so we thought that we would do the same thing. We'll go to a journal that is specialized in the professionalization aspect. Okay, so what we did is we listed all the journals, all potential journals in management, in occupation, in professionalization, and we looked at the scope. That's one thing. We looked at the scope because this is a systematic literature review, and we also looked at previous articles in those journals. Did they have a systematic literature review? Okay. And another thing that we looked at is at how many issues do they have per year? Okay, because if they have 6 issues, the likelihood of your article to be published faster is higher. Yeah, so that's another factor that we looked at. So yeah, so normally before we publish, we would look for potential journals and we would put them in a table alongside each other and look at the scope, look at the impact factor, look at the number of issues and compare them to see which one is most suitable for the paper that you want to publish. So when we submitted it to a translation journal in November 2021, it was accepted September 2022, almost 1 year later. Yeah, so the review process and everything took much longer. It wasn't like the first submission. Yeah, okay. And it was online 2 months later in November 2022, but it was published in 2023. So we were like waiting 2023. Ya, ni nak fulfill points ni untuk your essay. Tak keluar-keluar. 2024 tak keluar-keluar sampai the end of the year. Sempatlah masuk for 2024 punya apa? SBPU. Yeah. So and then we knew that okay, so I think this is actually the real picture of publishing in Q1, not my first and second experience. That was, I think, my luck. Yeah.
So I have a question, because this is a review exercise. From 2021 to 2024, a lot more has been done. Has that been updated in the paper, or is the paper based on what you submitted September 2021?
No, they were because during the review phase, we added more references.
From November 2022, when it's online,
No, it will be the same.
December 2022.
Yeah.
2 years, there's quite a lot that happened,
Yeah.
but that was not updated.
No, and I don't think there were many additional.
Especially with review type articles.
Yeah. But in your article, in your article you would state when the papers that you are reviewing are published. Okay. Yeah, so basically these are all the rejection emails.
Read some of them for those.
Okay, so it says, okay, the paper falls short of the sort of contribution we expect in IJMR. So basically, they want something else. Yeah. And then Yeah, so basically it's that it does not align with how they want a journal article. Yeah. So, and the second rejection letter, again, this is the second rejection. Your paper does not fit with the aims and scope of the journal. Okay. So, my first rejection, yeah, I think we were quite frustrated, I think, then. And when I look back at the emails, I think I did not reply them until 1 week later. Because I think if I reply, so another thing is, don't reply, when you get a rejection, don't reply immediately, because I don't think the wording would be that good. So wait until you calm down and then reply them, tell them thank you for your feedback and it's very useful and we'll try to submit it as well. Yeah. This is the third rejection. Again, unfortunately, feel it is unsuitable for publication in Journal of Multilingual. Yeah. So, yeah, it's about the scope, yeah, and what they want and what they think their audience is expecting.
Were there many, were there many other articles that talk about the same topic as you submitted to that particular?
In those journals which rejected our submission?
Yeah.
No,
All right.
no. Yeah, but they were not interested in, I don't know. So when I received so many rejections, I said, okay, how do we manage this? So I thought is instead, because when you submit, you can only submit to one journal, okay? So what I did is I sent an email, an inquiry email to 3 other journals. Because if you send an inquiry, you can send an inquiry to as many journals as you want, okay? And ask them whether this is something that would interest you, okay, to save time. Otherwise, you have to wait for the rejection 1 month or a few weeks. Sorry? Yeah, so don't submit it, because if you're not sure, send an email to like 3-4 potential journals, and they might say, yes, I think this suits us, send us your submission. Yeah.
What do you send? You send an abstract, you send a title, you send...
Yeah, I didn't send an abstract. I thought it was too long, and this is a very busy. Just 3 lines about what the article is about. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so some editors say no, it's not suitable. I think all say it's not suitable. So, and that's when we change to translation journals.
And in the meantime, do you tweak the paper? You get rejection. You look at the comment. Do you tweak the paper, or do you stand by your paper and say, look, this is a good paper by our standard. We want it to be reviewed as is.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's your
So after the first rejection, we got some feedback from that journal, and we thought that some of the feedback were quite valuable. Some of the feedback we said, no, I think no. So we did make use of the comments that we get if we thought it will strengthen the paper. Okay, because not all comments might be beneficial for your paper, because you know best about your area. So you kind of have to evaluate which comments to work on. Okay, this is the 4th paper with Dr. Intan, Dr. Hasina, and my other PhD student. This is out of the GUP grant, and it's another systematic review of the literature. The professionalization of interpreting practice. The earlier one was translation practice. A systematic review of the literature. Okay. Yeah, the first 3 submissions that we sent were rejected. Yeah. And then that's when we knew that, okay, so this is what it's actually like into a Q-journal. My first 2 experiences, those were not the norm, those were rather the exception. So we submitted to Jostran. Jostran is Journal of Specialized Translation, Q1. Okay, it's a Q1 and it's free access. And you don't have to pay to publish there. And there's no subscription also. But to get into it, was very difficult. Yeah. So we tried our luck, but we would not. And they only have the other thing is they only have 2 issues. That's another factor. And actually, they only have 1 issue
Oh, yeah.
because the second issue is a special issue. So you can only try 1 issue per year, and you have to submit. They will send a call for papers 2 years earlier. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we tried Jostran, June, December, not accepted, March to April, interpreting. So it takes 2 to 3 months to get a feedback. Okay, and then interpreter and translator trainer June, July, still no, still it was rejected. And then we sent, Dr. Intan suggested this journal. This is a Q2 journal. But of course, each time we received the rejection, we improved the paper. And I think that's a very important factor that made it acceptable by this journal, because we kept on improving the paper each time we got, and the feedback that they gave was quite good, and it was quite extensive. So we did a lot of revision to the paper actually over the course of how many months here. So by the time we submitted it to this journal, the paper was revised extensively based on the comments. So this paper was submitted in August 23, revised in January 24, accepted in September 24. So we are still waiting it to be online and published.
At least ada satu
We are hoping
siap.
25, yeah, 25. Yeah.
Kalau
Kalau tak cukup nanti the points for kita punya SPPU.
jadi yang first 3 years ya.
But if you look, my first submission was actually in June 2022. Okay, and it was accepted in September 2024. That's more than 2 years, and that's just submission. Itu tak masuk lagi the time that you spent to write the paper. Okay, so a paper from A to Z, easily if you're publishing in a queue, it's easily like 3 years, the whole thing. Okay, you start writing the paper until it's published, it's like 3 years easily. Artinya some students they go in year 1, when they graduate, your paper will be published. Yeah. Okay, this is Jostran's feedback, or rather rejection. Okay.
Again, for those who are online, could you read it out loud for us?
So they've got a standard table. So for example, this reviewer said that the flaws in substance or presentation make it too difficult to bring the paper up to standard. Okay. So, and there's a long comment. Yeah, and it's very good. And I think these comments are what help make the paper stronger. Yeah, so we made use of all the comments that were given to us. So it's very long. I think longer than the comments given to a PhD thesis.
Yang ini Australia ke mana?
Jostran is European. Which country? One of the European, not UK. Yeah. This is the second reviewer actually accepted the paper. Okay, with revision, but the editor chose to reject it because the editor says we have too many submissions that we can just reject this. So because they can still appoint actually a third reviewer, but they chose not to. They just have the list, waiting list is just too long for them. So
But
this.
how do you roll with the punches? How do you, as authors, how do you feel when you read this and that this is more work to be done and you don't fulfill your KPI? You haven't got that tick saying that you fulfilled that KPI. You still have work to do, and you're not even sure whether you can find a home for this yet. But how let's talk about the emotional wear and tear. Because I think we're all, like I said, we're all published authors here. We know what to do to publish. But the emotional wear and tear, nobody addresses that. Like, how do you guys, how do you deal with that? I'd like to know.
I think the most difficult one was the first rejection. So I think it was like 1 week. I was like feeling, maybe it didn't show, but I was really pissed off.
No, but you picked yourself up. How? Like, what was it? What were the things you said to yourself? Like, listen, I want to be a scholar. This is what I said. Are those the kind
No,
of
the good thing is my first rejection came when we were working in a team. So that helped a lot. That helped a lot. Okay, and we discussed and tried to see where we went wrong, or maybe we did not strategize accordingly. Okay, so it was very helpful to work in a team. And when I worked in a team, we distributed our work clearly. You are doing what? Who's doing what? Who's going to be the first author, second author, third author? It's all discussed clearly, so everyone knows their role. And
so when you looked at the comment again, you separated it accordingly. So you are taking number 1 and number 2. I'm
We
taking
discussed it, right?
yeah, we discussed it. Yeah, but there has to be one has to lead. So normally I will lead, okay, and then I will give it to them. Yeah.
And then Zain always said, okay, write a story. I'm like,
Write a story.
Yeah, that's
remember the
it.
editing part, which drives me crazy, write story.
Yeah, that's our main strategy. The article has to tell a story, and the story has to make sense from the introduction to the conclusion. It has to relate.
It's a narrative now.
Yeah, because I think that's main. Because when there isn't a story, or the reader can't make a story out of your article, that's where it becomes a little bit difficult. Yeah,
So your implied reader needs to understand the narrative that you're trying to impart.
exactly.
Whether the implied reader is from Malaysia, from Europe, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and your story is clear. Okay. So the second reviewer accepted the paper with revision, but the editor decided not to. So each time we receive a rejection, actually, although we've already. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we started it.
Yeah. So each time we get a rejection, of course, we will feel not very positive. So the best thing is to just cool down and do not address the comment right away. Okay? Because each time you read the comment, I don't agree with this. He doesn't know what he's talking about, But once you've calmed down and a week later you read the comments, oh yeah, it makes sense. This is very useful, So actually it's like that. And then when you look at, oh no, and you kind of know that it's actually not that difficult to revise and implement the comments. I think that's a sign of it.
Question. All the papers that you have sent to is qualitative papers, right? Is there any comments like your papers quantitative data or something?
No, because it depends on what your research question is. My research questions require a qualitative statement.
So there is no triangulation.
No, because my first paper was a conceptual paper. Second paper is a letter to the editor. Third and fourth is systematic literature review. And because one of the questions that you asked is the financial part. All of the papers could have been done with zero financial input. We did not need to collect data. We did not need to do a survey or interviews. No, we didn't have to pay the journal. So there wasn't any money actually needed. Yeah. I think I'll stop there.
Just pass it to Aisyah. Aisyah can.
Let's see what's the thing.
Aisyah is right.
But I want to show something. So
As long as you're facing there and they can see you. Any questions for Zain whilst we're waiting for Aisyah to set up? Did you think that was a good sharing session? Because I think those are the kind of experience that we want to kind of pick from, okay? Yeah? Again, Aisyah, because there are people online, you could read whatever you've got on the screen that will come.
You can bring that laptop closer kan. The audio.
I can see one. Ini yang boleh ya? Is it on? Oh, it's okay dah. Tapi dengar suara tadi. I tried outside. Should take go straight into it.
Oh, I will share.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all of you who are listening and attend in these sessions. So my cases is a bit different from Dr. Zain, where my research, most of it involved money. Because my research, most of them, we collaborate with the other faculty, such as FTSM, okay, in terms of website or apps, because we are languages, so we have to collaborate with them. So as you can see here, our team is come from FTSM and also Pusat Bahasa and Atma, okay, and the last one is from Citra. So it's a all combination of the researchers here that makes this paper happen. This research initially is from Prof. Hashimah. From Hashimah. So she got grants, top-down grants to at that time like Bahasa Melayu. They wanted to UKM wanted to do something about Malay language research. So Prof. Hashimah got the grant and then assembled these people to help. So the thing is, we did this research based on this is from the apps Rakan BM. Okay, there is an app Rakan BM which FTSM developed based on our content. So the content is already there. So we got the content from Atma video that they have produced pun. But then it just stay in the YouTube, in the private link, and for their students only to use. So we come up with the idea, why not we do the apps with the help of the FTSM. So the FTSM team come in and they did, and we helped them to build the storyboard on how the app should work. Because FTSM have the technology, but they don't have the pedagogy. So in that case, we advise them, especially in terms of the app's design. And we have augmented reality function where the students can scan and then the things will pop up, something like that. So we have submit to a few journal, and then finally we come to this journal. This is quarter 2, Q2, Let me read the title, which is Technological Acceptance of Non-Native Speakers on Language Learning Mobile Application Using Augmented Reality. So we submit this paper 2003. Okay, so it's 2003, and then we revise it again 2004, and then finally just got accepted. So it's the same case with Dr. Zain. It is published online, already published online. You can sign it, but there's no volume or numbers yet. So
Even now, even January 2025, it still hasn't been given an issue or a volume.
no, but if you search it in Google Scholar, you will find it. And you can, they already like, if you want to purchase this paper, you can purchase it. So, yeah. So, it takes a while to be accepted, and it takes a while also to be really, in formal form. Yeah. But, yeah, that's the process. Okay, so, belum. So we use the TAM, Technology Acceptor Model, to analyze this thing. So while we have the linguistics aspect, so FTSM have many tools to do analysis. One of them is TAM. So they use this model and then actual use. So most of the previously we submit this paper in a few journals, but it's all about users' experience only, like how they experience and so on. Not really much into statistical aspect. So when we got rejected, so we tried to improve the paper and then include the statistical aspect. So this is the apps. So this is input, what are the output, then interaction feedback. So the student would choose which picture is suitable for them, and so on. Yes. So this is the interface. This is the video from Atma, and then the question that we, I and the team produce for the student. And then the student is from Chitra. We got the feedback is from Chitra students who the foreigners learning Malay language in UKM, because this app is for second language acquisition for foreign language. So Malay language is a foreign language. Yes. So there are 18 participants, and then yes. So this is all the statistical part. Hypotheses, augmented reality. So it's like I said, the linguistic part only is not enough. So this is the triangular data where they goes deeper into the hypotheses and result explanation.
So that was the feedback you got from the other rejections, that you all needed to triangulate your data?
Because they said the paper is not up to their standard. It is too light for them. It's just like because when I realized when we linguistics researcher, when we do like apps using users or something, it's just like a simple questionnaire and so on, not much on the statistical aspect, and it was got rejected because maybe we didn't go for the gender like semantics or parametric, maybe we didn't go there. So maybe one of the reasons. Okay, so let me show you. This is the comment, okay, from the reviewers. It's very long. It's like 5 pages, like very long. But then it's something doable. We can do this. For example, like clarity of methodology. If you look at the comment, you will feel that am I being rejected because too long? Is it too bad or something? No, they just want you to improve. So you just follow the comment, and then sometimes, as Dr. Zain has said, like they need justification why you use 10 and extension of 10 because we need to do something new. We cannot like, oh, this is 10, we use it. But what is new? Okay. Because everyone currently are doing something with apps, digital mobile phone. So what difference that you make? I see. So they explain here, and then about the I think about the citation. This one. This is quite interesting. We suggest the authors expand the related word overview with some fine AR based system. Okay. So they give a few expertise to be cited. Okay, but our comment is we take McNeely for AR part. Okay, but the other two citations seems relevant because our study is focusing on language learning domain. We can justify that.
So you choose to take some of the comments and you choose to kind of like ignore some. And
Yes.
You tell them that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they could accept it. For example, like tables 4 and 5 are very difficult to read. Please restart and restart. So it's a lot of work. Okay, some figures and tables are not here. Table 4, 5 is unrevised. Many works.
How many reviewers?
Two. But I'm not sure. No, this one we have. So yeah, I think there's a long queue of papers for this journal. So they want to see whether you sanggup ke tak nak ubah. Sometimes people just send kan. So when they give feedback, and then dah tak kembali lagi kan. But then we did.
Emotional resilience.
Yes. But we try our best to improve all of it. The discussion has been enhanced and so on. They did ask us about ethics, okay, but they don't ask for the ethics later whatsoever. They just ask how did you go around with the ethics element, and then we just reply to them. We already received consent from the participant. That's all. They doesn't need like jawatan kuasa whatsoever. This orang semua. So yeah, and finally we've done this publication. So I just want to my session. I'm not that I have like 4 or 3, 4 like Dr. Zain, but because my research is much more integration of the technology and language. So this is currently what I'm doing, which is Practice Korea. So this is Practice Korea website. My research from Dana Innovation. So because this is a website, and then we can use the TEM model also, and then we analyze with the smart PLS or something like that, and then so this is staging stage, which means it's not live yet, and then it's not live yet. So for example, if people click here, they can listen to the sound and look at the how to read here. Okay. So the design is also require pedagogical element. At first, the designer, the web developer, just put the table of the vocabulary, the sound and the meaning below the pictures. And then I said to them that if you put there, the student won't read the vocabulary. They won't try to read because they just look at the answer. It's already there. So that's why I asked the web developer, can you please do pop-up when you click? Yes, those kind of things that we as a linguistics researcher has important part of it. It's not the technological, because in terms of technological, we can just ask them, can you do something like it? But the learning aspect of foreign language for foreign language learners, we know better. So we can give them advice and so on. For example, like this is vocabulary, right? So this is basic vowel. So basic vowel. So so this is ka. So this subject development tak sama pun dua-duanya ni. So dia orang still play around with the layout first. So ada sound and so on. Okay. One of the things when you have to consider when you're designing something, apps or whatever, the reason this is PWA, Progress Web App. Okay, we call it PWA, which means that you can open it in desktop. If you want to download it in your handphone, also you can, but you have to have internet connection to access all the items. But then you don't have to search for every time. You don't have to search at the Google like practice Korea, practice Japan, whatsoever. You can download the page into your phone, and because it's all linked, so your phone is not heavy as an app. So the reason why we don't do apps like Google apps, Android apps, I received this comment when I presented for K Innovasi. And then the judges said that why you don't, the question is about practice Japan actually. If you do apps, many users will use instead of, this kind of online website. But the thing is, I collaborated with commercialized sector. So this project is hand in hand with Pelangi Sendirian Berhad. So the Pelangi, the company itself, who has sold millions of books, suggested PWA, not apps. So we have to listen what the industry want, because they said if you use an app, it's already obsolete. 1 year, 2 years, it's already obsolete. It cannot be accepted. We have to spend money on keep revising it. So they don't want that. So
Are you working on a paper about that, or like how is that going to be in a journal paper?
Yes, currently working on it because my work is mostly about innovation and also innovation product. Because the Dana Inovasi, they don't allow you to do papers for conference or to submit papers. No, but if you go for competition, yes. So for practice Japan, we went to the competition, teaching and learning competitions, and we won the best papers, the best poster actually, the best poster, and the best posters is from the university category altogether. There's like 200 or 300. So usually when you go to that competition, you got gold, like silver, like everybody will get something like that, right? Something, but we want the best one out of that. So we want gold and also the best paper, the best posters. Because for that innovation also, we have to make a video to produce our products and so, and then they look at that. For example, this is business. Okay, so and then we got grant from Toshiba International Foundation, and currently I'm doing the physical textbooks and also website. So the websites are the online, like this one. You can see the greetings and you can hear Ohio. Ohio gozaimasu. And then, for example, like sitting position, if you go to Japanese working setting, you sit according to your ranks. So the lowest rank we sit here. Number 4 is the lowest rank. Means the lowest rank always sit beside the door. It's easier to get out, to take something, to take water, to do photo state or whatever. So that's your job. So as you can see, the boss we sit far at the edge. So because he doesn't need to do it, same with this type of room, and also we have in elevator. So elevator here. This elevator. So if you are the lowest ranking, you should sit near the button because you have to touch and open the door and close the door. So yeah, so my research nature is like that. So previously we have done collaboration with FTSM also I think that one is from Sumitomo Grant. We did children's books for Little Caliph kindergarten. So the textbook was quite nice, very cute. It incorporated Japanese hygiene element because Japanese is very particular in educating their children about hygiene. So we take that approach into our children's book. So that's why we got the Sumitomo Grant. Yeah.
We'll have another session where we organize in terms of the kind of research that our cluster members are working on. But any questions for either Aisyah or Dr. Zain? Go ahead. Dr. Shan?
Dr. Zain, you said earlier that strategize, thank you both you and Aisyah for your papers. You said that, to strategize, you should strategize so that we have that one queue, which is 4 Scopus articles. 3, okay. My question is, what are our responsibilities as cluster members for the KPI of the pusat? Because we're supposed to have that many number of journals. So does that, so that means when I strategize, I know, okay, I'm going to get this queue, it's 1 article. But the pusat has got, I don't know, I suppose it's a question for Pengurusi as well, but my question is when we strategize, because honestly, all of us, our focus is my point at the end of the year. That's my focus. I'm not going to break my back. That's my focus, right? Oh, right. We're going to stick ups now, are we? So that's my question. So, because at the Bankel, we had all of this, right? So that's 1. 2, how do you manage the time? Because I have this article, I want to work on it. Between that time, I have 7 PhD students telling me I want blah, 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 and they are supposed to publish. What are we supposed to do? What is our strategy? Because honestly, I think every one of us in this room, if we had the time, we can sit and work on our new articles. My question is, are we given that research, not holiday, research time so that, okay, I know here I am working on this article, I'm not going to work on anything else. But we can't do that because we have 100 million, so what is the strategy? So it's 1, numbers, 2, this, because we can't say to our students, go ahead and do it on your own because they are forced to put our names. If my name is going to be there, I'm not going to let them submit rubbish. right? So, I mean, these are the realities of our lives as academics. So, could you perhaps, share on your strategy on that timing especially? And then, of course, the numbers, maybe you kind of, answer that.
So the first question was about KPI and SPPU. Okay, so you are measured based on the SPPU, not KPI, right? And what's required of you is, officially is to fulfill your SPPU, right? And but I know there's a mismatch actually between the KPI and SPPU. There's a mismatch really, because everyone is required to even publish a chapter in a book, which carries 0.5. Why would I want to waste my time, the same amount of time that I could get 1 point?
No.
I use it to get.
The national chapter is fine now, because the national chapter is same as a Q4. So I strategize for
1.5.
Yeah, so at least
Yeah.
I know I'm meeting that part. So that's our this information.
But your question is valid.
That one, yeah.
Like if I take care of myself and I ignore the
So in terms of numbers, each lecturer has to publish at least 3, right?
Actually, it's 4.
Or 4. But according to SPPU, if you publish Q1, you get 3 points.
Yeah.
That might fulfill your R already. Yeah. So
that, right?
so actually, I think there's a mismatch between. But I think that's not our problem.
Right?
Our problem, because at the end of the day,
Because
you are summoned to submit the.
no, I mean, I take that back.
Right, can we stop?
No, but I think that's valid.
It's our reality.
Come on.
Yeah, so I think the number one is our SPPU, because that's the obligation or your duty that you have to fulfill. The KPI is someone else's KPI,
Yes.
right? And it's their obligation to make it work. How they do it, I think if you become the municipal side, you can tell us.
Try.
Yeah.
But so I'm just wondering, strategizing as a cluster, like maybe there are these who can do the Q. These are the people
Shouldn't be one size fits all, right?
Yeah, so at least we know that we are achieving our KPI for the cluster based on these things, and then we get that's 1. 2, you strategize. Okay, so Q article, like Aisyah said, some take, if you're lucky, within 2 months. Some take 2 years, right? And so it's that, isn't it? So it's a whole matter of those gamuts of, it's like I want to do the Q. I can't find the time to do because people are coming to me left, right, and center. So now I finally said, okay, that's it, I'm going to sit. But at the same time, I sit and try to do it.
Yeah.
Students come in with their publications, and we have an obligation.
And your question to him is,
How do you find the time?
how do you find the time?
If
I'll
you
add
look-
to that, how do you prioritize? Which is more important, which is more urgent, which is more necessary, which can wait for the next 4 months?
So if you are trying to find the time, you're not going to find it. Okay, that's my answer. You're not going to find it really. You don't have time. So what you have to do is make time. So my experience when working in a team, that was very good. Because it's me, Dr. Intan, Dr. Hastina, and we had a very good arrangement. And each time we meet, we have a milestone. By this date, we're going to meet, and by then we would have achieved this and done this.
As a principal author, do you check in on them? Do you
Of course.
Really?
Ah.
Was he a bit of a slave driver? Was
You
he
can
like-
nampak email experience. Nampak email je. Itu Intan cerita lah.
They're very good. They're very what do you call it?
WhatsApp email. Committed. Of course.
So you kind of you have certain benchmark, you're like, okay, right now we have to do this, right now.
Yeah, but I asked them, when do you think we should meet again, and then yeah. So I think working in a team is always good because it pushes you, as opposed to working alone. I mean, you can just fiddle around with the schedule, right? Yeah. So I think, yeah, if you're trying to find time, you're not going to find it. Make time and try to stick to it. And a team arrangement is quite effective. Yeah.
I think also, I mean, you made a very valid point in the beginning. You have to find and you have to publish in journals that are in your area. Now, for Ryan and myself, specifically with literature, humanities, there are very few fields. Very, very few. So, do we fall into the trap of, I'm just going to publish for the sake of publishing? I'm very careful with my reputation as a scholar in my area. So I don't want to do that to myself, And to me, that's my constraint, So I know that there are few I've identified, but there are very few, With the rest, I mean, language, translation, you will lose, but we don't. So that's my guidance. So, that's something that I think that's something that we grapple with. I grapple with it. So that's why I go with Scopus, because I know that those ones are at least they're good in our area, in our area. And for me that's very important. I do not want to publish just any, just for the sake.
As long as it's a reputable journal in your area, as he has said, I think your scholarship will be cemented way after you retired your profession. You know what I mean? I think that's what
I don't think it's an ideal system that we're working in, but we're stuck with it. I know it's not fair across disciplines and fields of studies. No, it's not. But yeah, we kind of have to deal with it and try our way around.
Just something. I don't want to call myself a purist or whatever, but I have a certain reputation where my field and expertise is concerned, and that's where I want to publish. And if both is Scopus, I ensure I tell my students, if it's not Scopus, do not. Right? Because if you want to have my name there, do not. And the other thing is, if my name is going to be there, I need to go through that article before it goes anywhere. And because that's it's mandatory by the time. So they can't, if they don't have these are so many things that we have to handle. So I appreciate your insight,
Because both Dr. Zain and Puan Aisyah has something else on as well, and so do the rest of us. But I would like to thank, first of all, can we give them a round of applause? Thank Associate Professor Dr. Mohamed Zain Sulaiman and Puan Aisyah for this wonderful sharing session. Every level of experience is valid and important. Puan Aisyah has a wealth of experience vis-a-vis innovation, developing that. We will be inviting you back again. You're on your cuti belajar, but we will be inviting you back again. And Zain is here. So if you look at the list of journals that they both have published in, maybe we can, consider them if those are journals that you feel useful. And I would also like to thank all of you here in attendance. Thank you so much and happy writing.
I wanted to say thank you to Aisyah because maybe, if she knows people in FDSM who want to work out with apps,
Later we could collaborate. Yeah. There will be opportunities for that for sure. Okay, goodbye everyone online. Say goodbye to the people online as well.
Bye.
Are there anyone online?
Yeah, is anyone online? How many? Manis? Manis is one of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop.
Okay, thank you, Aisyah.